It's Memorial Day here at Jefferson Barracks. We'll be honest with you, in the past 18 years that I've been here, this is obviously the quietest during the pandemic and all that, but we're taking advantage of it being nice and quiet for the last several months that we've been closed. We've been closed since March 16th, so now we're entering 2.5 months into it. I really don't expect the museum to open until, at the minimum, until maybe mid-June. We'll see how the other museums are and see how situations improve, but that's where we are now. But for the past 2.5 months, we've been busy, keeping busy. We have a staff of volunteers only that have been coming in and working at one of our 4 properties. We have Fred over there at our warehouse working on some projects. John, Kristen, myself is here. But I wanted to give you a quick video because we've promised we'd give you a series of videos talking about our current status and where we're going and so forth. But the big thing during the pandemic is really unknown here. As most of you know, especially the members, this is a not-for-profit museum. It's not a museum funded by the government. It's not funded by corporations. So this has really had a devastating effects on this type of museum that are independent. So when we close our doors, we close funding 100%. The only support base that we have right now are those supporters and those members who have sent in gift contributions over the last 2.5 months that keeps the lights on and the buildings insured and so forth. So that's where it's all going. Today, I want to show you a little bit of things. We're doing some exhibit improvements here. One thing we plan on doing during the closure was to make sure that we can get through each and every one of our exhibit cases, change those, alter those, bring them up to date, put new artifacts out, and things like that. And so that's what we're doing today on Memorial Day, on a nice quiet day that we have here. The museum's collection has thousands of artifacts in it. Many of them have never been seen, never been placed on display here. So you're going to see some pretty interesting and significant pieces coming out here in the near future. Matter of fact, I think our next video that we're going to put out next week will be probably 2 of our prized possessions relating to Abraham Lincoln, so you want to tune in that. We're going to have a series of these videos, especially while we're closed. We're going to post them on our website for all to see, but we're also going to, those who we have the email addresses to, we're going to send those out to our members in email so you can kind of get a little look at what's going on. So we thought it would be interesting to take some of these items that we have in our collection, some of them on display, but you can only tell so much on that because you just got a little card that tells a little bit about the object. But each one of these objects have not only their historical story, but they also have their behind-the-scenes story of how they came here to the museum, what was their connections and historical significance. So I think you guys will really enjoy that kind of stuff because you've never been able to see it in the past. So we'll take advantage of the video stuff there. One thing I want to do today is before I end here, just giving you the update, letting you all know we're still here. Hopefully everybody out there is staying safe and healthy. I want to definitely tip my hat to all of you, the hundreds of our supporters who took the time and continue to do and send us a gift contribution to help keep the lights on and things here at the museum. I can't thank you enough. The members have always been there. You know who you are from the beginning, when there was just a few of us, to now where there's 1,000 of us. Whenever we've gotten into times of troubled waters or needed financial help or something like that, our members have always been there. That's why we're still here, still slugging it out. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart of what you've done, not only for this museum, but for the memories of those legendary figures that we try to perpetuate their memory. So thank you very much. So I'm going to turn it over to Kristen Pollock, who's going to actually give you maybe a first blurb. Since we were doing an exhibit case today, working on a medical exhibit, we brought out one of our artifacts that had never been placed on display, and it has a really cool and interesting story from the war all the way up until today. So the next cut you see will be Kristen Pollock here, and I'll jump behind the camera, and we'll see if you like that one. So once again, signing off here, and we'll give you another post here very shortly. Thank you.
Everybody, this is Kristen Pollock with the Missouri Civil War Museum, and just as our executive director just pointed out, we have a pretty unique artifact right here in front of me. This is actually what's known as an artificial limb from the J.E. Hanger Incorporated Company. This is in fact circa 1900. The story goes all the way back to the war. In fact, all the way back to June 3rd, 1861, with a young soldier by the name of James Hanger. James Hanger himself was actually just 18 years old when he enlisted in the Churchville Cavalry Company in the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia. And at the Battle of Philippi, which is in modern-day West Virginia, on June 3rd, 1861, James Hanger himself was severely wounded in the left leg. He actually was struck by a 6-pound solid shot cannonball. He had to wait inside a stable, and he was captured by federal forces. He was taken to a field hospital after the battle, where he had his left leg amputated just below the hip. So a pretty serious amputation. But what's really neat about Hanger himself is that he's actually the very first amputee of the American Civil War. Ultimately, by war's end, there were roughly 50 to 60,000 amputees in both North and South. Here, what's really neat about this prosthetic limb and the story of Hanger is that Hanger went home to the Shenandoah Valley following his wounding and then later his imprisonment, and he came back with a peg leg that made him hobble around. He wasn't able to do any work. He was feeling downhearted and disillusioned by what had happened to him. So what he decided to do with his knowledge of engineering is that he actually started to design his own prosthetic limb. One that could actually move with him, one that could bend at the joints, and one that was actually more comfortable. That way, veterans just like himself, those veterans who were amputees, could actually go home and continue to work. Many of these veterans who did suffer amputations during the war faced similar circumstances as Hanger himself, where they had to go back home and work on farms and factories, so they needed something that would work. So Hanger himself designed his limb, and this specific artificial limb, like the one you see here, this is obviously one that had been refined over the decades since Hanger designed his first one, but there's a lot of common attributes right here in front of us that Hanger himself would have designed as his first artificial limb. For example, you look just over here, there's a leather encasing here that would be able to secure the limb. And now this limb in particular was for an amputation just below the knee. So you were able to use your knee and able to bend it. So the limb itself was designed for that. So you would be able to secure the thigh right here in this leather encasing. And just below it, as you can see here, is the wooden leg. And your limb, or the soldier's limb, would be able to fit just inside there and be snug. You also have a leather strap to keep everything together and snug. And what's really neat too is the foot. This is something that Hanger himself refined over the course of his career with the J.E. Hanger Company that he founded. But you can see where it bends. You can see the leather right here, which is a leather joint to allow flexibility of the foot. You also have joints like right here at the knee to help give the knee support, make it a little bit more comfortable, and could move with the body. You can see the ankle moves as well here. So again, the Hanger limb was so unique for its time. And Hanger would actually, over the course of these decades following the Civil War, would create a company that has a lasting legacy even today. Hanger would design new artificial limbs, which we call prosthetics today. And today, the J.E. Hanger Company has supplied limbs for thousands and thousands of troops who have lost their limbs, and to make their lives a little bit easier. So today, the J.E. Hanger Company is actually the world's largest producer of prosthetic limbs, or artificial limbs, as Hanger himself would call it. But thanks for tuning in, everybody. Again, I'm Kristen Pollock with the Missouri Civil War Museum, and we really appreciate you tuning in today. And we look forward to seeing everybody back at the museum here in the next few weeks.